What's going on, guys? Aaron here on Easy Street, professional driver, amateur human. So today I've got a video. Well, my name's Aaron, and it is spelled the traditional way, the most common way. So I guess now you guys are all welcome to say you done messed up, Ron. Story's coming up right after the intro. So, in my trucking career, which has been going almost 10 years with a little bit of a break in there, I've made, a couple of minor mistakes. Nothing major, nothing really costly. I think the most expensive mistake I've made before this was $200 for a winch out when I got stuck in the dirt years ago. Didn't pay attention to the fact that it had rained like the day before, and parked in the Texas clay and had to call to get winched out. But that changes now. I now have a new, most expensive mistake. So I was at a customer. It's an ice cream place in Charlotte, North Carolina. Not the easiest place to get into, not the easiest place to get out of, tight docks, stuff like that. I got into the dock perfectly fine. Thankfully, on this day, there was a lot of room to set up. They didn't have too much stuff in the way. I was able to ease it right into there. To my left was one of their trucks, one of their local trucks who delivers the ice cream to the local places in town. And some of what they were offloading off of my truck was going onto that truck. And when I was leaving, they said, "Hey, it's a little tight getting out of here. You can't go up through the other driveway. So you just got to make the sharp right turn to get out of here. We'll come out and spot you." My mistake was trusting the spotter. If you're unsure of something, get out and look, even if you're driving forward. I did not do that. I trusted the spotter, and unfortunately, as I made that right-hand turn, my trailer swing caught the mirror of the local truck. Thankfully, there was nobody in there. Nobody was hurt. Unfortunately, it was basically the epitome of drive until it sounds expensive. Well, I heard it. I heard the crack. And I stopped. I stopped right away. And the spotter just kind of looked at me like, "What are you doing?" And so I got out, and I was like, I heard something. I want to make sure that I didn't damage anything. Well, sure enough, I get out, and the mirror is folded in, and the piece on the outside of the mirror had been broken off. And so thankfully, not too awful much damage, but it was damaged nonetheless. Now, they told me that they basically put the blame on the spotter. They provided the spotter they said the spotter should have been looking and should have noticed that I was going to hit, and should have stopped me. But I was the only truck in there. I didn't know if there was cameras or anything like that. So, and it really didn't matter. I did the right thing, and I called Prime Safety Department. I let them know what happened, and everything was good. They took down the information, all of that stuff. But unfortunately, because insurance could get involved, that kind of stuff, it did cost me $1,000 for the deductible. Now, I may see that return to me in the future if they don't call, if they don't claim on Prime's deductible. They didn't ask for any insurance information, anything like that. So it could very well turn out to be nothing, and I may receive that money back. I'm not sure. So in the meantime, to me, that money is just gone. It cost me $1,000 to hit the mirror. Now, what I want to make sure you guys, especially you new drivers coming in here, I'm here, even though I took a couple years off, essentially mentally I have about almost 10 years experience out here. Don't blindly trust anyone. Learn from my mistake. Don't blindly trust a spotter. If you even remotely think that you're in a dangerous situation, that you're not 100% sure, get out and look. Now, I have in the past in tight docks. I've gotten out and looked, pulling out to make sure my trailer swing wasn't going to hit anything. I made the mistake of blindly trusting a spotter. And, as much as I want to put it on them, as much as I want to blame them and say that they're the reason why I hit that other truck and that kind of stuff, I can't. That is on me. That is 100% a mental lapse, mental error on my part. And I want you guys to learn from that, because you can easily make that same mistake. That is probably one of the simplest or easiest mistakes. You think driving forward is the safest way to drive, and unfortunately it's not. It's not always. Now granted, you do have a lot more accidents while backing than pulling forward, as far as low speed accidents, but remember that trailer swing is still there when you're pulling out, as it was when you backed in. So while you think you may see that you're good on one side, you might not be good on the other side. And I just want you guys to take it from me that it's an expensive mistake to make. This is something that if I had taken an extra 10 seconds, I would have seen I was about to hit that truck. I would have reset and fixed it and not done anything. That 10 seconds cost me $1,000. So guys, the silver lining in all of this is I've had a great week this week. Thankfully, I am not stressed about that $1,000. I'm still going to come out in the positive this week. But you need to make sure that you never let your guard down. That is probably the simplest mistake you can make out here on the road, is letting your guard down. And, you know, speaking of the money part, stay tuned, because next week I will be breaking down my month of earnings, June's earnings. Now, I know June won't be over yet, but it'll be my last pay settlement in June. So stay tuned for that. I may even have a midweek video coming out. I've got an idea in my head to as far as something else. So remember, guys, when you look past the junk in life, everything is beautiful. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and stay safe out there.